Sports Minutes with Ziaul Raushan.
This is not going to be what you used to have, like 7-8 goals, matches 6-4, 6-5. No, this is the real football, now what you're seeing.
3 matches down, 81 to go. That's right, the 2025-26 SPL season is underway, and this is your Sports Minutes reviewing Match Day 1. Not official, just essential. Joining me, Ziaul Raushan, in the studio is the one and only Deepanraj Ganesan. We heard from the Sailors head coach Alexander Rankovic earlier, and more to come from him shortly. But first, Deepan, snaking queues, noise in the stands, and in uniquely Singapore fashion, fans watching from the comfort of the library at our Tampines hub. It's so good to have local football back, isn't it?
Yes, wonderful. Been waiting a long time for this actually. Singapore Premier League football is, to me, the best in terms of watching our locals, watching quite a new, fresh competition with the number of foreigners in the league. And I think for round 1, I think it delivered.
Yeah, it absolutely did. 3 matches, 6 teams got their campaign underway. On Friday night, Albrechts Niigata and Balestier Khalsa played out a 2-2 draw. The stalemate in the Eastern Derby, BG Tampines Rovers and Geylang International playing out a 0-0 draw at our Tampines hub. And then on Monday night, Lion City Sailors got their campaign up and running, the defending champions beating Hougang United 2-1. Let's start with the Sailors, who picked up their first win of the week after 3 matches. Before we talk about the result, here's Ranko sharing his post-match thoughts.
Yeah, I'm satisfied with 3 points. With the way we played, not so much. Can be for various of reasons. I think the one biggest reason is that we had a very tough match a few days ago. But I don't want to look for excuses. I mean, we know this. We want to play this kind of matches. Last season, we had sometimes 7-8 matches in a month. So I'm very happy with the 3 points. And the first game is always tough.
Perhaps not as tight as we are used to seeing LCSB. You allowed Hougang to have shots on goal. Those 2 goals disallowed. This kind of recurring themes in your defence over the past 3 games, is it a cause of concern?
Not really. I mean, we just need to settle a little bit more in the back, definitely with some new players. I mean, we do miss Bailey. That's the fact. I think with him coming back, it's going to be different. And listen, I say this so many times, so many interviews. This is different competition, guys. This is not going to be what we used to have, like 7-8 goals, matches 6-4, 6-5. No, this is the real football, now what you're seeing. And I like it.
Now, Deepan, a gritty 2-1 win over Hougang United. For all their statement signings, the Lion City Sailors, it's still Max who came to the fore.
Yeah, good old Max. I think at the end of the day, I think I've said this a few times now, where I think sometimes we take Maxime Lestienne in this league for granted in terms of the quality and expertise that he brings on the ball, and he showed it again this time around with 2 really good goals. Yes, of course, especially the first one, sort of Hougang mistake. But it's about being clinical, and I think that's what he brings to this team. A lot of these foreigners in this Lion City Sailors team can learn a thing or two from him.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's zoom in on those foreigners. Anderson Lopez, I've seen him now play 3 matches competitively for the Sailors. Nothing to show for it. You've previously said someone like Leonard T needed time to acclimatise to the league, to the conditions. At what point do we then start getting worried about Anderson Lopez and the lack of end product?
Yeah, I think being worried is something that a Lion City Sailor fan can feel perhaps in the games to come, maybe after 6-7 games. I think at the moment he does look a bit off in terms of, doesn't quite look sharp. I think he lashed out at the ball. Unlike him, when he was thrown goal from a Shawar Anwar flick, I feel like Anderson Lopez, someone who's really fit and firing, would have made the most out of the chance, but it seems like he's just a bit slow at the moment, and this comes with game time. This comes with settling down in the league. Keep in mind that I don't think he's used to playing on an artificial turf. I think that makes a difference as well when the ball bobbles off the pitch, when there's a bit of a getting used to, even in terms of running on the pitch. So all these things are something that people don't really look at, people don't really realize. People think that football is just about 11 men turning up on the pitch and just being a better footballer than the other. It doesn't work that way. So I use Leonard T as an example because I remember very well that people were writing him off, saying this guy is not it, this guy is a waste of money and all. And then now people are clamoring for him to start ahead of Anderson Lopez. So it's going to take a bit of time. I think people have to be patient. But I think with the money spent, with the stature of player he is, there will come a time, perhaps 6-7 games down, where serious questions need to be asked. The difference between him and Leonard in terms of settling in is that when Leonard was there, he didn't really have a foreign forward to compete with for that slot. Yes, he was competing with Shawar Anwar essentially, But right now, if Anderson Lopez doesn't perform, Leonard is waiting in the wings. So the kind of time afforded to Anderson Lopez will not be the same, and Rankovic at some point needs to make a call.
Yeah, I think it's important not to be knee-jerk, which is a term you used on last week's episode. This one you said about the Sailors, they can't merely be effective, they need to be attractive. Your words, right, on this show. Will this international break now then give Ranko a chance to iron out the kinks in the Sailors' armour?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the difference, right? I think clearly on social media and in a few Telegram groups, people have been sort of raising questions like, oh, he should change the formation, or oh, he should change the players, or what's wrong with them. I think to ask what's wrong with them, that's fine. I think you and I both, we watched these 3 matches. We know that things haven't quite clicked yet for the Lion City Sailors. I think it's fair to question, but to then throw out like big statements like saying, oh, the coach has lost the plot, or coach needs to be changed, I think that's a bit too much for me. And that's what I mean by knee-jerk and overreaction. I think for sure, Sailors are a team that are perhaps going to pick up their form later on in the season. Same as last season. It's not really about having a bad preseason. It's more about they sort of like want to prime themselves in the important parts of the season. So of course you have a bit of a slow start, but I think this like you mentioned, I think this international break is going to be crucial for them. Bailey Wright needs to get up to speed. I think he's a crucial player for them. National team players of course will be away, but I think a lot of these foreigners, Anderson Lopez especially, will have to use this break to get a bit sharper, a bit fitter, and hopefully when the Sailors come back, especially in continental competitions, they are fit and sharp and ready to go.
Yeah, when the Sailors return to action in September, they play Balestier and Tanjong Pagar in the league. That sandwich between a Persib clash in the ACL2 competition as well. You talk about finding form and peaking at the right time. Tampines were trying to make it 3 wins out of 3 in the week. That was halted by Geylang International 0-0 after 90 minutes at our Tampines Hub. Fair result, you think, for both teams?
Yeah, I think fair result, even though I think Trent Buhajar hit the post twice, and I think on another day that could have gone in. Tampines Rovers just looked a bit off the ball compared to the other 2 games that we've seen from them this season. But at the same time, credit to Geylang International. I thought they defended superbly. Case in point is Nazrul Nazari against Trent Buhajar, kept him quiet for most parts of the game. And I thought that, Geylang, with Joshua Pereira, with Nazrul Nazari, the new Serb defender, they look compact. But worrying sign is that Vincent Bezekor and their Serbian defender did go off injured, and I hope for their sake it's not a serious one.
Yeah, I think all Geylang fans will be hoping it's not too serious an injury, especially for Vincent Bezekor. I want to ask you this. Mohammad Noor Ali post-match said it's unlike Geylang to keep clean sheets. That they did against a Tampines team who clearly could have attacking firepower, right? Is that a sign of Geylang this season in terms of defensive solidarity?
Yeah, it well could be, and I think it's an important thing for them. I think Noor Ali is right. They need these clean sheets. But now the trick is you need goals. I mean, yes, you can talk about clean sheets, being tighter at the back, which are all fine, which are all good things to sort of endeavour for, but you need the goals. And at the moment, without Tomoyuki Doi, I know that Shuhei Hoshino is a completely different striker, and I think Noor Ali has talked about needing the goals from Taniguchi and all. But I just feel like a lot of the play was isolated. I think Riku Fukashiro was also quite off the boil. They need these players to sort of get the goals as well. It's not just about Shuhei Hoshino. I think Shuhei Hoshino releases the other players. But when he releases the other players, these players then got to get on the score sheet. So hopefully in the games to come, they are better in attack.
There are many things I want to find out across this SPL season, one of which is why Shuhei Hoshino wears number 4, because it's puzzling to me that a striker would wear number 4. Let's turn it to the Stags. We talked about them being in good form coming after 2 victories, Community Shield as well as the ACL 2. I beg your pardon, in the Shopee Cup. But fatigue will definitely have played a part, right? Yet, Akban Awas only made 1 change. 72nd minute, I think he brought on Taufik for Glenn Quay. Why so? Did he miss a trick? Because there was options on the bench.
Yeah, no, I think he did rest a lot of these players who started the game in midweek anyway. So I think the plan was always to sort of make the most out of his squad and use as many players that didn't start the game previously. So I think that was fine. Where I think the trick was I think that Tampines could have got more for it towards the end of the game, because it was quite clear they were losing the momentum to Geylang, and I was looking for Akbar to make a change to sort of stem the flow, get the momentum back to his side. Like I said again, I think they went close a few times. Trent Buhaja, Taufik when he came on had a very good chance from a Irfan Najib cross. These are chances that you got to take in these games. In these games, and I think they didn't. So, but 0-0 is not the worst result to sort of start off in an Eastern derby. So I expect more from Tampines this season.
We talk about players making impact off the bench. For Balestier Khalsa, Ignatius Ang did just that on Friday night at Jurong East, salvaging that 2-2 draw against Albrechts for the Tigers. Fair result?
Yeah, fair result, and something which we predicted in terms of it being a stalemate. Simply because I think a lot of these foreigners, they're just starting to feel the league. It's going to take some time. It's just not about Anderson Lopez like we talked about at the start of the show. A lot of these foreigners, they're new to this environment, new to this league, new to this kind of playing surface. So it's going to take some time. So quite smart then for Balestier to say, you know what, the pitch is going to we're going to get used to. But set pieces, it's in the air. We can win the balls in the air. Heading is same across anywhere you play. So, and they made the most of it. It's typical Marco style, right? And I think it's something to watch out for this season, where if they defend well, if they defend tight, they can win games off set pieces, and 2 goals from set pieces this time around. It's just the first game.
Yeah, I mean, certain things in life are certain. Marco playing set pieces to his strengths is a tactic employed even by Premier League clubs, English Premier League clubs. So why not, right? Let's talk about one player who definitely caught the eye. That's Albrechts' number 10, Takumi Yokohata. He's a player we're going to talk about all season long, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. When I was talking to a few people in the know in pre-season, he is a name that stood out. And very happy to see that Albrechts have this kind of player to look forward to. I think we talked about this last week on the show, where we talked about these foreign playmakers that we can look out for now, because almost every team has that very crucial player. And I think he is that for Albrechts. And while we talk about foreigners, I just want to use this chance to talk about locals as well. There's been a lot of concern about local players and game time, rightly so, because of only 4 of them playing. But I for long have said that I'm for this, because I think it adds quality to the league. It's too early to judge whether quality and sort of the intensity of the game has gone up in just the round 1. It's going to take some time. But I thought some locals really stood out. I think we talked about Nazrul Nazari on this show already. Haziq for Albrechts was brilliant down the right-hand side. Got an assist as well, if I'm not wrong. And also, special mention to the young boy, 17-year-old Sim Jun Yen. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. But he's a name to sort of look for this season. I was surprised, first and foremost, that he started the game. But even towards the later part of the game, he was still running and played really well for his age. So him, Ryan Sanizal and Fahan Zulkifli also, what a performance. So happy to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice to see the local players come up and take on the challenge head on, right? We've had one local player from Balestier Khalsa kickstart Sports Minutes on Monday. I've got one from Albrechts Negata lined up for Friday, so keep a lookout for that. Domestic football now takes a back seat for a bit because a bit anticlimactic, but there's a September international window pulling the handbrakes on the domestic league, with Singapore playing 2 friendlies away in Malaysia and then a closed-door match against Myanmar. To that end, Deepan, we talked about local players getting minutes. One local player who got 0 minutes across his club's 3 games is one Mahbub. Should we be concerned?
Yes, I think match time for any goalkeeper is important, and I think more so than any other position, because you really need the game feel. And Izwan not getting that is a worry, but at the moment, I think for these games at least, I think you got to go with the try and tested. And Izwan is that the defenders are familiar playing with him. The defenders know what to expect from him. We know what to expect from Izwan. So I think he's the best choice at the moment. I'm
going to ask you about that full-time appointment for the national team head coach in a short while, but taking interim charge against Malaysia is a certain Gavin Lee. When the fixture was announced, I had an off-air conversation with you and I said, why Malaysia? Because this is a real baptism of fire. So if not the result, what should Gavin be judged on heading into the September matches? Yeah, I think it's just about their identity in terms of how they play. I mean, is it going to be a close identity to what we saw under Ogura, or is it going to be completely different, a bit more like what Tampines exactly used to do? I think we just need to see a clear identity so that, we can go into the India games knowing that, okay, this is how we are going to play against India. This is what to expect. And let's just hope that the players go into it with a good form. So it's really just about the identity, because like you mentioned, I think it's going to be tough for us to get a good result. I think Malaysia at a very different stage and we are at a very different stage. They can call on 11 foreigners almost, right, in their team, and we are not the same. So
it's going to be a very tough game. I think to judge on results will be foolish.
Yeah, all eyes on Gavin and the Lions next week, 4th of September. They're playing that game away in Malaysia. Final question, any stakeout missions lined up? What's the latest on the national team head coach appointment?
Yeah, as we have seen and heard, Jesus and Nick Montgomery were in town for interviews with the FAS hierarchy and a few other important people. But I'm led to believe, and I don't want to give too much away at this point, but I'm led to believe that there are still ongoing conversations with other coaches as well. Perhaps not in person, but I do have this feeling like based on the initial shortlist that was shared earlier, I think they have done more background checks. They have done checks with players that have worked with these coaches, and I think not everything has been entirely positive in terms of your likes of Cannavaro, Harry Kewell, and these sort of names, right? So I am led to believe that there have been conversations with newer coaches, some of whom have recently lost their jobs, let's say. So I guess just watch this space. I think we're still a fair bit away from appointing a coach. It could well really be one of those two coaches that we saw in person, but it could also be not them at this moment. I think it's quite open at the moment, and clearly you can see from that they're taking their time over this, and it's a decision that they really are carefully deliberating on, and we've got to wait and find out.
I've called you plenty of things on this show. I've called you Professor, I've called you Scoopman, but that is yet another tease for the listeners in terms of who these names are. Watch this space. Deepanraj Ganesan, as ever, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Raushan.
Sports Minutes on Money FM 89.3.